will the new task force run by Luna going over disclosure, declassifying things and that nature, will they be working with David Grush? That is the question I believe that Matt Laslo asked on Ask a Poll, and it seems like that is the intent. We haven't heard much from David Grush. It's interesting that we haven't heard much from him since really he's been here and there since that hearing, and he had the appearance on Rogan, which was really kind of, I think, the last major interview that he had. And then there was talk that he was going to have an op-ed, and then there was going to be talk that he was going to join a group. There seems to be an answer to that as far as why that never happened inside of this clip from Matt. And I'm going to read the kind of a breakdown that Mike Colangelo tweeted. I highly recommend following him on Twitter for good breakdowns of what's going on in the UFO community, UAP community.
So there's going to be disappointment in the community saying, "Hey, woman." So there's going to be disappointment in the community saying, "Why lead with JFK? Why not just focus on UAPs?"
We're doing USOs and UAPs, but the task force is typically set for 6 months, and this is the first time that we're actually getting a task force that's going to be focusing. And so I'm hoping to set up a congressional delegation to a friendly country that actually has a fully declassified program, has a program for disclosure that's already been set up, which to my knowledge those exist. But also, too, looking into what we can get declassified from the Pentagon. If there is anything, the Secretary of State, as you know, Rubio has been very supportive.
And now, this is a lot. Epstein, 9/11, UAPs. Are you going to get a staff?
Yeah, we have a staff. So we have multiple attorneys working. We have actually the entire oversight staff is at our disposal to work on this.
And when it comes, do you know when you may want to have your next UAP hearing?
It's going to be probably after JFK or maybe after Martin Luther King, but we're definitely having two. We're going to have one specifically on UAPs, USOs, but also, again, I'm not just trying to have another hearing and bring in people. I want evidence, and so that's what we're pushing for, and that's why we have the letters that's going out.
And so you're hoping that more whistleblowers might approach you all.
I'm hoping to find evidence.
Yeah.
Declassified evidence.
And now, have you been able to look into the latest whistleblower, Jake Barber's claims? No. Did you guys ever have a official follow-up with Grush?
They denied, so the last administration and agencies denied his security clearance, which is why we couldn't get back into the SCIF. So that's going to be followed. Can we get him an active security clearance for breaking into SCIF?
Yeah, and so that's going to be a top priority. Maybe off screen.
Yes, 100%. But now that we have a task force, we can actually do something.
All right, there's a summary from Mike after hearing Matt Laslo talking to Luna. But what Mike says at the end there, I think is interesting, and that is, it's crazy that this hasn't happened yet. If Grush is a liar or wrong, call his bluff and find out. Taking this long to get it done and the resistance just creates more mystery and suggests there is something to hide. All right, so I think there's quite a few things to bring out of that. And I think the question from Matt Laslo to start that whole thing was the right one, right? Do you think there'll be disappointment that you're leading with JFK and the other assassinations before this? Why not just start with this? She's like, well, we are doing that. We're doing that after JFK and after this. It's like, I think it's very important if we're hiding secrets and we can actually find evidence on if someone actually did kill the president in our own government in 1963, we should absolutely have that information out. We should have that information out if that happened to other leaders, Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy. We should find all that stuff out. Maybe it's me because I'm covering this stuff all the time and it's just my level of interest on it. But I would tend to think that if you can actually find stuff out on UFOs first, that's the one you lead with. That to me seems like it's the most important thing, depending on what it really is, and could be the overall change of society in general, possibly, if there are things out there that are to be discovered. But what she does say that I think is the most important, and the reason why that we've been talking about her and how she really approaches this thing, the UFO thing, the right way, in that she shares our frustrations. And she said something that I'm so glad she said when he goes, well, when are you going to do another hearing? Matt Laslo asked, when are you going to do another hearing? And she says, well, it's not just about another hearing. It's not just witnesses. We want evidence. There's got to be evidence, because she knows you can't do another one of these things of like, well, we saw some stuff. This guy actually saw some stuff. He looked at it through the window. He saw it. Okay, but what did you see? Well, I can't tell you that here. I got to tell you in a closed room. She would probably bang her head right through the freaking desk if it was that again. So and so would we. So you don't want a hearing without evidence. I don't want a hearing without evidence. She doesn't want a hearing without evidence. And that's exactly what you want to hear. Now, the Grusch side of it, to which I agree with what Mike is saying here, is that it's weird that you don't follow up on that. Look, the powers that be, even Schumer was thrown off that this guy came out into the public. They had a plan of what they were going to do. All the UAPDA stuff and all that stuff, that was already planned out. That was going to happen. It just expedited it once Grusch came out and said, hey, listen, this is what I know. This is what I saw. And I can tell you that behind a skiff. It is strange. And Mike's not wrong. It is strange. I can tell you all this stuff. Let's find out tomorrow and tell everybody the day after that. It was a year and a half ago. So if you can get this guy involved and you can put him with this, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't he be, if there's department and there's staff? Okay, well, let's put somebody who's really been studying all the stuff and all the files on JFK and can point you in the right direction. Let's hire that person in the same way that you'd hire. Look, guess what? If somebody is writing a comic book movie and there's a screenwriter out there, it's like, well, that person really knows the Spider-Man comics really well. Bring them in. Bring in those people that are qualified, that have studied these cases. Bring them in. In the same way, why isn't David Grush your first phone call? The concerning thing also is, have you looked into the Jake Barber stuff? I have not. Well, you should, because even if it's there's another report, and I was going to do, and maybe I still will do it. I think I will, to follow this up. Tim Burchett made claims that he thinks that Barber might be a plant, which is interesting. And I wonder if he is in Luna's ear about that, and they're worried about that, concerned about that. That's a curious one. The other thing, I guess I'll say that at the end, if I can remember. But anyway, there is, I think that this is the steps that you need to take. But Grusch, and she said it 100%, he wants to get him involved. They're going to do JFK, they do these sessions, and then UAP. After, she didn't say a date. She just said after those things are out there. And I get it, and I think that there's probably a thing that Trump promised RFK Jr. is one of the things he promised. So maybe that's part of the deal, is that that's going to be investigated first. And he goes, look, I'm going to, this is the task force. Hey, we're putting a task force together. Luna's running it with other people. Great. Do that one first. And that very well could be what it is. But there's going to be, and she knows, she is very much associated with this in the same way that Burchett is, in the same way that Moskowitz is, in the same way Garcia is. They are outspoken inside of the government talking about this subject. So, of course, that's what she's going to get. And that's what Matt Laslo is going to do. And Matt Laslo gets these stories. I still think, and Matt Laslo even said it when he was on this show, more reporters that are interviewing these people should be doing this. This isn't foo-foo stuff anymore. This isn't something where they just put together a task force. This guy, Matt Laslo, is the one guy going, well, what about Barber? What about Grusch? Why isn't every reporter doing that? I mean, for the fact that more people are going to be covering it, cover it, you dopes. If you talk to these people, you don't have to ask every single question about it, but bring it up, especially if it's already been announced. Okay, you're covering this, and this task force. Talk about it more. You're starting to see a little bit more of that, but Laszlo covers it here today and does an excellent job as always. So I feel that Grusch will be involved more. We haven't seen anything from him. I wonder, and it was interesting that they said that the stuff was blocked beforehand. They didn't mention anything about Mike Turner or anything along those lines there. And I wonder if he had anything to do with the blocking also, it always seems like no matter which side of the government it is, whether it's the left side or the right side, it's always the other person's. It's always the other administration's fault. So it's like, well, why didn't that happen? Well, it was those guys. Yeah, they did it. They didn't let us do it. What about them? Before we were in here, they messed the whole thing up. What about them? They messed it up. It's like, do we know that? Maybe. It very well could be true. I'm just saying it always seems like, it was their fault. That seems to always be the, especially in the beginning of a new administration. Everybody's done. Every single administration does it all the time. What are you talking about? They say we're the bad guys. They're the ones that messed it up. They're gone now. But nonetheless, here is the new task force. We've got potentially Grusch coming back. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a necessary thing. But I also think they need to look into all claims. And it is bizarre to me. And let's back up on that a little bit. It will be very bizarre to me if Matt Laslo goes and asks in a month from now, have you now looked into Jake Barber's claims? And she says, no, I haven't. That's a problem. Now, there's something to say, we looked into the claims. We're still looking into them right now. We don't know what to make of them. Currently, we're still vetting them. Fine answer. We'll get back to you. This next time, and Laslo, I hope, does ask that again, it can't be, I haven't looked into it. Why? Out of all of the claims that are out there, this guy seems to be the most compelling. If everything that he's saying is exactly true, and Burchett's wrong, that this guy exactly is who he's saying he is, and he's there, he's seen all this stuff, and you're not looking into it now, that's negligent. But we'll see. We'll see what this task force is going to do. Is it just a thing of like, hey, we're really looking into it, but we're going to come back and tell you, nothing to see here. No one wants that. That will be a complete bust, by the way. That's a complete bust. If all of these, they very well could be like, look, we looked into this particular assassination. We looked into what we found, and everything in the data that we have found is exactly what is out there. It turns out that so-and-so actually did do it, and here's the proof that we have for it. Here's the stuff that has been redacted that we found that actually points to the fact that the first information of what you guys actually know is the truth. If it all comes back that way, I'll be scratching my head. I will, because I just don't believe a lot of them. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. There's a lot more here than meets the eyes. Anyway, what do you think about all this? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Is Grusch coming back? Should he come back? Should he be working with the task force? I feel like everyone's going to be saying yes. What say you? The other thing I was going to say that I forgot, I have gotten some great guests on the show. I had James Gunn on the show. I had Ryan Graves on the show. I've had Tim Gallaudet. I've had some really great guests. I want one of these people working on whether it's the task force, anybody inside. I have not gotten anybody inside the government yet. I haven't made a real pitch for it yet. But what I have found has been pretty successful is when you guys, if you're out there looking on X or whatever it might be, and you're communicating, tag this show. Tag them. Send them a clip of us talking about this. Let's get them on the show, because I feel like I can represent us, and I'm not going to sugarcoat questions. I want to ask them the things that, I guess, the common sense questions of it all. And I think similar to what Matt Laslo just did. But hey, you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. Just curious. Anyway, thanks for being here today. Subscribe to the channel. We are really close to 50,000. I think we just hit 47, so we're trying to get to 50,000. I think we can do it. Comment. If you want to become a member, you can do that. Thanks for supporting the show. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.